Let's go stateside, Clinton.
Yes.
See if we can get an invite over there and speak to Ken, who I think, well, I don't say I think, because I can now see his hat and his jumper, is a Norwich fan. Wonder what he thinks about the likes of Frank Lampard. We might ask Ken about that in a minute. But let's talk about USA first, and let's talk about your player, current player. Because you think of the ones gone past, Claudio Reyna played for Manchester City, didn't he, in Fulham? And
Clint
who else is
Dempsey.
at Fulham? Clint Dempsey.
Very good,
But
yeah.
current players, Ken, who are we thinking? Who ticks all the boxes for you in the Premier League right now?
Current player, Zach Steffen for me. I'm a University of Maryland alum, and my son went there, so we saw Zach play actually at Maryland, and had interesting discussion as part of a little alumni thing with the coach, Sasha Shirosky. When Maryland did the English tour several years ago, when Zach was playing there, it was done specifically to alert people in Europe and England to Zach, because he knew Zach had the potential to play in England. So the tour was specifically to show him off, which is really quite interesting.
Yeah.
So he's number 2 at Man City and number 1A for the U.S. team. He supposedly is starting tonight. Which is interesting, in spite of the fact that the current goalie kind of has outplayed him. So I'd say Zach Steffen, and then second you have Pulisic. Is the second as far as the current U.S. players. As far as players who've played in the Premier League for a long time, you have two or three really to choose from. You have Tim Howard, obviously.
Yeah.
You have Brad Friedel, who has, I have it up on my screen here, 310 consecutive Premier League matches with Blackburn, Villa, and Tottenham. And then you have Clint Dempsey. Those are the three, I think, who are most outstanding. And also, wouldn't do justice to my son, who didn't wake up in time, and stuff we did earlier in life. Backyard Soccer. You guys familiar with the Backyard Soccer franchise?
No, tell us.
The Backyard Sports franchise. It was a video game, so it was like Backyard featured, animated kids playing a variety of different sports: baseball, football, basketball, soccer, and hockey. So they had a franchise for a couple of years. They had the MLS version, and I looked up the players who were the MLS players that played in the Premier League, are John Harkes, Kobe Jones, Ryan McBride, Preki, Bobby Convey, and Landon Donovan. They all were featured in the game, so they were like cartoon versions of themselves, and you could choose to pick.
Yeah.
These are fun little games, especially when they brought in current players in whatever sport league as their little cartoon representation.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned all those goalkeepers. Well, I'm thinking Casey Keller, even back a bit further. Leicester, Tottenham as well. We've had quite a few American goalkeepers in the Premier League as well. And look, there's an American playing at your team, Norwich, in Josh Sargent. So I wonder what Frank Lampard's going to do with Josh. Are you excited about the idea of having lamps at Carrow Road, Ken?
Lampard is a very sexy pick, and I would say unexpected. As I've seen, that Frank Lampard is worth more than Delia Smith, which is kind of interesting. So the joke is, Frank going to Delia, I'd like to buy these players from Europe, and her saying, well, I can't afford it. Could you buy it instead? So he has a record of playing the younger players, which is great, because Norwich has had a lot of success with the younger players coming through the academy. Andrew Obama-Dele has done phenomenal, and Josh Sargent, obviously. I'm excited for his play. I've said before, I've been on here a couple times before, he reminds me a little bit of Harry Kane with how he plays, especially where Hal Kane hooks up with Son. Not necessarily as a striker role, but more or less as the supporting role. So I'm happy. And also, I'm part of the American Aries group, and we actually are in contact with Josh's dad. So we're hoping to somehow do a Q&A with him. Don't know if it would be live, but maybe send in the questions and get stuff back.
Yeah.
We also have Josh Tomlinson. He's on the under-23s on the U.S. team. So we're connected, so we're trying to do. But if Frank Lampard comes, that would be outstanding. Most people think it would be a stepping stone, but great, have it be a stepping stone, have him prove himself that he can keep the team up, that they can play exciting, attacking football, and then I think we'll be all welcome Frank Lampard. If it's not him, I think the second choice would be Knudsen.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Dean Smith. Somebody posted Dean Smith was in New York last night with his son. So if he's in New York,
Yeah, he was.
his son, he probably isn't talking to Norwich about the managing job.
A fairy tale in New York for Dean Smith. We shall see. Look, Harry Kane played for Norwich. Remember that? Back
Yes,
years ago, he was on
did,
loan, wasn't he, at Carrow Road? Look, really good call that, Ken. Thank you very much. Ken mentioned Lamps being a sexy pick, I should say. Ken is a sexy man himself, isn't it? And more sexy people coming after the break on Fanzone, because we are, of course, going to be doing 4, 3, 2, 1. But we've been asking everybody today about your favourite player from your country to play in the Premier League. This is what Helga in Norway is saying.